All right. Thanks for coming back. And sorry that we have a limit on the rooms with 100.
There's 9 spots left. Hurry.
Whoops. So for those of you that couldn't make it on, or your guests couldn't make it on, we are going to have a presentation this Saturday. We'll be promoting that at the end here. And we also have, there's also a lot of great events that are going on throughout Canada. So we're going to be promoting those right at the very end. So don't miss that. You're going to get a lot of details about those events. So if you did miss it, I apologize. Next time, I guess I'll have more spots ready. But what's great is for the people that did make it on, we got an opportunity here from Mathieu Lamontagne. And what I wanted to do was something maybe a little bit different or a little bit out of the box. But I wanted to put Mathieu on the spot here and ask him a couple questions and hopefully get a few gold nuggets out of Mathieu that will help all of us build our business. So I think one of the first things I'd love you to talk about, Mathieu, is about new IBOs. There's a lot of new IBOs starting with all the growth that's happening in Canada, with all the new IBOs getting started in the business. I think with your experience, I mean, if there's a few things that a new IBO could do that they have to absolutely do that would make their journey in ACN explosive, what would you say to a new IBO?
Yeah, for sure. I think what I would say that really help a lot of new IBOs is this. And that's it.
Wow, that is fantastic, Mathieu. I'm blown away. I hope all of you heard that, because literally what Mathieu just told us was, I think, the secret to becoming SVP in a week. Mathieu, so we're going to shut this down here, and I don't think we need to say any more, right, Mathieu?
Oh, man, I'm having fun. You guys are awesome. I would say, there's many things you could say to a new person, but my rule is the 5-day rule to get qualified, because what I realized, Dom and Jordan, is, and you guys probably know that, if somebody doesn't get their own services, they don't get qualified, they're not going to make money. So it's hard to be long-term. If you don't have the services, you don't make money. So first thing I tell people is get qualified. And just to give you an example, 2 weeks ago, we signed up a business owner in a new team that I started here in Montreal. Is from Africa. He came here. And then I sign him up, and the first thing I say, I can't remember, I think it was Ibrahim. I say, hey, we need to get you, sir, Ibrahim, we need to get you qualified. So the first thing we need to do is get 3 services. He's like, I want all the services. I said, okay, but let's compare. You have internet right now with Bell. He's like, why compare? And I was like, this guy gets it, because he's like, number one, this is an expense. I'm paying Bell right now. I'm paying an expense. Now, becoming an ACN IBO, this will become an expense instead of spending. And he was like telling business mindset. For me, it was like, hey, every new IBO should think about, I should get all the services regardless if I'm saving $20 or if I'm paying $3. Like, it doesn't matter, because number one, it's an expense in your business. Number two, you're going to make money every month on your own services. And number three is you're going to lead by example, because you can't work for Mercedes and come with a BMW, say, hey, I have a good interest rate with the BMW. Like, you can't. So I think the first tip I would tell people is get qualified, get your services to get belief, but also to get paid.
That's awesome, Mathieu. But what if somebody has, instead of a Mercedes and a BMW, what if they have like a Honda and an Acura?
It's the same thing. If somebody works for Acura, same thing. It's just the mindset I have might be higher.
I got a question about the comp plan, because I think the importance of qualifications, the importance of getting off to a fast start. If you take the entire compensation plan of ACN, all the different ways that we get paid, I think here's an important question and an important answer for a brand new person to learn in ACN. If someone new in ACN doesn't get any services, but let's say they sign up 100 people, do they get paid, Mathieu?
They don't get paid. They could get somebody brand new signed up, a Dom Giordano that get thousands and tens of thousands of customers. They're not going to get paid if they don't get themselves qualified. So I always tell people, like, you need yourself to get qualified to get the benefit of building a team.
Thanks, Mathieu. And okay, I got one more follow-up question. But let's say that all somebody understood about the comp plan. They didn't know overriding residual. They didn't understand breakaways. They didn't understand that there's team residual. They didn't understand that there's new monthly bonuses and all this great money in ACN. But let me ask you a question, Matthew. If the only thing they understood was that if they got every new person that joined their team 5 services or more, would they make the maximum amount of, would they do great in ACN? Would they make great money in ACN?
They would do great, but they're not going to make the best. I always tell the people, don't make your maximum your minimum. Make sure that you get the minimum to get the first level. But, I have somebody in my group that have over 900 personal customers. We have somebody right now, I think, on the line that I saw that's in Atlantic Canada that has over 1,300 customers, personal. So, I would say get the first few services just to get qualified. And then while you're building your team, you're also going to build your business, which are going to be your personal customers. You got to mix the two of them.
Love it. So let's move on to IBOs that have been in the business a little while. So there's lots of ACN IBOs in Canada. It's a 30-year-old company now, which is pretty awesome. But with ACN being, as old as it is, there's people that have been in ACN for some time. So let's say that, they took COVID off. Maybe their business hasn't been doing much. What do IBOs like that do right now with everything happening in ACN and all the momentum that's happening? What do those IBOs need to do to kickstart their business?
Well, first thing first, if they don't get to work now, they will regret in 2024. They will regret that they didn't take action in 2023. And this is based on my experience and knowledge of what's going to happen this year. So I would say that it's like a gym. It doesn't matter if you went a few times the past 10 years, 15 years, wanted to be in shape. There's always a time that you can go back and make the real decision to do it, because I believe in ACN, there's a date when you sign the application to become an IBO, and there's a date when you decide to be successful. And you guys did the same thing. You guys signed, did something, and then boom, you decide to really go at it. And this is where you get the success.
What's a gym?
Home gym.
Oh, okay, cool. So, I think one thing, if you attend any sort of ACN corporate events or any events whatsoever, you're going to hear the concept of leadership mentioned over and over and over again. Leadership training, personal development, developing leaders. What are some of your tips for developing leaders, and what are some of your tips for, you've created some of the top leaders in the company globally, some of the top income earners globally. So you've had a major hand, not just in your own business developing leaders, but company wide, you've helped ACN develop leadership in 27 different countries. So how do you take somebody that has no idea what personal development even is, or didn't even know it existed? How do you take that person to, SVP and become an awesome leader?
Yeah, it's a really good question, by the way. And I do believe, you need to find leaders, it's like Walt Disney, when they asked, the old president, how do you get, so good employees that are like positive and they're smile and they have a good, tone of voice, and how do you train those people to be so positive at Walt Disney, because it's such an experience for kids and parents. But and the person said, you know what, we don't train people to be positive, we don't train people to be smiling, we hire people that are positive and that have a smile. So what I'm saying is, I was not a quote to quote leader. I played basketball at a high level. I was never the captain of the team. I was never the captain of my friends. But what I understood is this is inside of me, I had a burning desire that I wanted to help my mom. I wanted to help my family. So that's what we call leadership. If you want to do something, different, and you want to achieve something in life and help people and help yourself, well, guess what? This is leadership. You just got to grow it. And the way to grow it is just to go to some of the events or Zoom events or read some books. My wife is like, I've been 23 years with my wife, and she's always making jokes. Like, I never read a book when I was in school, but since I'm doing ACN, I've probably read like over 500 books, went to at least 10,000 hours of seminars. But that's why I think I'm a leader, because I built myself into that person. So again, if you grow your mind, you grow your wallet. If you grow the way you're going to think, you're going to attract things in your business that's going to grow your assets and going to grow your business.
I think everybody can kind of agree. We live in the age of microwave personal development. Like, if you jump onto, any sort of social media app and you start, scrolling and you're into personal development, you're going to find 60-second personal development videos, right? And there's like a million of them. I think any nerd with a blue shirt and glasses can post a personal development video to social media, right? So what's the difference between microwave personal development that's so prevalent nowadays, and the difference between what you said, which is actually reading a book, being introspective, taking the time to ask inward focused questions and say, how can I become better? How do you develop the habits and the will to make those decisions to have that kind of lifestyle?
Habits, will, like all I tell people, like when people told me like 3 years ago, COVID virus, I said the biggest virus we have as human to be successful or to be healthy is it's called procrastination. We always push everything tomorrow. Oh, let me call this person tomorrow. Let me read that book tomorrow. Let me listen to this. Let me do. So when you push things on the side, well, you're pushing your success on the side. So I'm a big believer. I've been never perfect. Like some people want to be, I've been a person to action. So it doesn't matter how I speak, how I sound. If I talk to people, it's a business that you make money. It's every business is different. This is the type of business that if you talk to people, it doesn't matter how you talk to them. Yes, you can be more polished, you can have better approach. But if you talk to customers, if you talk to potential IBOs, well, you get the numbers on your side, you're going to be successful, And that's one thing, I tell people, it's you just got to start. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know everything. When somebody sign up, say, I need to know everything. Listen, my daughter, when she learned how to swim, like I didn't read 10 books or show her like some videos on YouTube. I say, okay, this is how you swim. Let me take you in the pool. Even if she screamed, I say, let me show you. And after a few hours, she decided she was less scared. She got confident, and now she's a great swimmer. Same thing in business. If you never had a business, it's scary. You're going to approach people, what they're going to think of me. But guess what? Once you know how to swim in the ASN world, you'll get customers. You'll know how to get people in the business to help them be financially independent. So it's just a matter of getting started and do action.
I have a question. So, and I know everyone has different time they can put into ACN, and everyone has different goals within ACN, and we all try, right, to respect that. But if you want to, can you just talk about the importance of whatever your time commitment and whatever, your financial and positional goals are in ACN, the importance of having a daily method of operation, and just give some practical tips on maybe just like tracking your business daily, weekly, and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, because when I started at age 19, I had a lot of time, to be honest. Yes, I was going to school, I was playing basketball, and my wife says that I was spending time with her back 20 years ago. But at least I had 20 hours a week, because every time I finish a basketball practice, I could talk to people, I could do presentations. So when you're young, sometimes you have a lot more time, or you meet a lot more people, right? But as you become a little bit older, you have more responsibility. You have maybe one job, two jobs, businesses, kids, you have many stuff. But what I tell people is this: it's not how many hours you put into ACN, is what you do in the hours of ACN. This is what people don't understand. You could put 3 hours a week and you can make more money than the person that is putting 15 hours a week. Because a lot of time, people that have a lot of time, well, they're more on social media, they're doing less productive things. So I tell people this: I think every day, ask yourself, how many people did you talk to become customer? And how many people did you talk to show them the business, to show them the plan? So it's a daily, even on Sunday, like I have a friend of mine, his name is Sheikh Traoré. He was in the business 10 years ago, became one of the positions called regional director, as you guys know. And this is a sad story, but just to his wife passed away 2 years ago from cancer. And he took a year and probably 8 months now, just doing grieving, I think we say. And he called me back in September. He said, okay, I'm back doing ACN. And he's a full-time engineer, makes multiple six figure. Like, he works for a big company here, very smart person. And he's like, I want to get back to ACN. I want to make sure I'm financially independent. And he's doing right now, last month was one of his biggest month. He had over 150 customers, over 30 people join his business. And he's like, all I did is every day I was putting action, I was being consistent. But he started in September to get the month that he got in. So it takes a few months to get what we call the momentum. So sometimes people are like, okay, I'm very busy. Great, be busy, but be consistent for 3-4 months. and you'll see that the reward of 3 months of work will pay off after 90 days. It's just a matter of being consistent with small actions and making sure you do it every day.
Yeah, I think, another element that you see in every single key leader in ACN and top earner is the importance of events and attending events. I want you to make sure that everybody sticks around to the very end, because we've got some events that we want to talk about and some things that are going to be happening in ACN. We'll give you some details about that. But I want you to talk a little bit, Mathieu, about the importance of events in your business, and how do you promote events with your team, and how do you make sure that your team understands the importance of events?
Yeah, and this is my opinion. So it doesn't, if you're in the room, you're an IBO, you're a leader, and it's all about how you perceive the business. I'm a believer of hybrid. I'm a believer that this business should be built like this, and then live, which is more like a physical, more like a connection. Because what I realized is you need to talk, like, meeting. By the way, Dom and Jordan, I had at least 7-8 messages of like, I have 3 guests, I cannot get in. I have 4 guests. Like, so I probably would have been like 200 people tonight. But what I'm saying is this is I know this is the tool to use in 2023 in the next 10, 15 years. Eventually it will be VR, it will be other technology, and we'll get paid on it. But what I want to say is it will never change the effect that live events and live chat. Like, I've met somebody through Zoom the other day, and we did an event in Montreal. We had 500 people, and he's like, listen, I signed up in ACN. I got excited. I got qualified, like you told me. I got 4 or 5 business owners, business partners. But after that event, he came back, and the last 2 weeks now, he got over 20 people in his business and close to over 100, probably more than 100 customers in his business. But the reason I'm saying this, because sometimes Zoom, it can show you the way, but to have the full belief, you need to see and really meet those people and really have connections. So I'm a big believer of hybrid. So anytime there's a meeting that you can drive, it could be an hour away, it could be 5 hours away. I think it's worth it. And with what we live with COVID, it was really hard. It was harder for other people, but I believe, mental health, I believe a lot of stuff happens. So people realize now, just to have this live event and talking to people and living the energy of others makes a huge difference. So I'm a believer of the two type of meetings, live and Zoom.
Idea of what that LCC is going to look like. We got a quick video here we want to play.
I believe that season is upon us right now. We said that this was going to be the year of progress and promotion.
So I first want to say thank you, Mathieu, for putting this event on, and thank you for actually setting this up. It's the first time it's ever happened in Canada, and why don't you talk to everybody a little bit about why they need to be there and what's going to happen at that LCC?
All right, cool. So when we had a discussion with one of the co-founders, we explained that the last, for myself, for the past 20 years, all the leadership were done in the US. It's more like training on the US services, training on the US version of vision of where the company is going. And we asked last year and this year to make sure that Canada is separate. We're a separate country, separate culture, separate services, separate opportunities, which we're going to have, again, great announcement this year. But we asked one of the co-founders if we can have like a LCC only for Canadian leaders. He accepted. I mean, it doesn't seem like the resort that we're going to go in. It's in an hour away from Montreal. It's a private resort, 5-star. It's really expensive. So just to let you know, when you're there for 2 nights, all the 4 or 5 meals included. It's not McDonald's, nothing against McDonald's, but it's like really like fine, cuisine. And it's like, you see cuisine, this is really exotic, Dom. This is just the cuisine. I said the word, like people are excited to come. But joke aside, it's something that we ask because we want to make sure with all the announcement that will be done this year, all what the co-founders are preparing for Canada, we want to make sure that people, if we can have the announcement made at that time, that they get trained on the new service. If not, at least that people know where we're going for Canada in the next 1 or 2 years with everything that's going to be happening. And also we ask the top leaders, which is the senior vice president, and also some of the top regional vice presidents, to do trainings for people to build to the next level. So it doesn't matter if you're brand new or if you're just starting, like everybody can get qualified this month. You have until the end of February, until March 1st to get qualified. And I'm a believer, even if somebody, I'm a believer that somebody started February 1st or February 7th, and there'll still some people that will go and get qualified for that trip because it's doable, it's possible. And those people will be exploding the business, with all that, the training and the knowledge that they're going to get from that.
It's fantastic work. Our whole team is excited about it. And, I just want to say thank you, Mathieu, for coming on, letting us kind of ask you a few questions here. And this probably is different than what's regular, but I hope everybody got something from some of these questions and from Matthew's answers. I know Jordan and I were taking notes. So thank you, Mathieu, for coming on. If you're on, jump in the chat and thank Mathieu for coming on as well.
And we just want to go over some upcoming events across Canada.
All right. So we've got, first of all, there's going to be a Toronto regional event that's going to be happening on February 11th. So don't miss that. It's at 11 a.m. And there's going to be an awesome training afterwards. And they've got some incredible speakers there. They've got Mark and Kevin and Benoit. So don't miss that. Get your people in front of those awesome leaders in Toronto. And then there is also the Edmonton regional event that's going to be happening with Mathieu here on Thursday, February 23rd. So don't miss that either. So you're going to find details on your team threads and on the Canadian thread, so it'll be sent out throughout social media. Now, if you weren't able to get on today and you may have some guests or you want to plug in Saturday, we have got a meeting that we're going to be opening up across Canada. There we go. We got a meeting that we're going to be opening up across Canada. It's our Saturday system training, so feel free to jump into our Saturday system training, and we will be putting that link out there for everybody. And there's the Zoom number there for that. So
yeah, and you'll want to be on it. Richard Griffith will be presenting. He got to go to the LCC in Charlotte, completely exploded his business. He's already qualified for the Canadian one, so you're going to have some awesome training from some top regional directors and RVPs.
Thank you again, Mathieu.
Thank you, Mathieu.
And we're going to open up the lines here, and feel free to thank Mathieu and jump in the chat and thank him as well. Thanks, everybody, for coming on. Hope you have a great night, and see you Saturday.